The red earth of Makeni stretches endlessly beneath the afternoon sun. Amara wipes sweat from her brow as she tends to the tomato plants in her family's modest farm. At 24, her hands know the rhythm of the soil better than anything else. Her younger siblings depend on the harvest. Her mother's medicine depends on it. Everything depends on these plants drinking up the rain and turning it into survival. She doesn't hear the convoy approaching until dust clouds rise on the horizon. 3 black SUVs, impossibly clean, impossibly out of place, roll to a stop at the edge of the village. Amara straightens, shading her eyes. Visitors from the capital always mean one of two things: opportunity or trouble, sometimes both. The man who steps out of the middle vehicle makes her breath catch, though she'd never admit it. Tall, with skin like polished mahogany and a suit that probably costs more than her family sees in a year. His eyes scan the village with the assessing gaze of someone used to measuring everything's worth in seconds. Chike Okonkwo. She's seen his face on the newspapers that sometimes make it to their village. Tech billionaire, Africa's youngest self-made magnate, the man who turned a small app into an empire that spans 12 countries. He's also, apparently, the man buying up land all around Makeni for some new development project. This is it. His voice carries across the quiet afternoon, rich with disappointment. This is the land adjacent to the acquisition. His assistant, a nervous man with a tablet, nods rapidly. Yes, sir, the geological surveys show, but Chike cuts him off. I don't care what the surveys show. I need to see the water source myself. His gaze sweeps across the farmland and stops directly on Amara. She realizes she's starring. She should look away. Instead, she lifts her chin slightly, meeting his gaze with the quiet defiance of someone who has nothing to lose and everything to protect. Something flickers across his face. Surprise, interest. He starts walking toward her. This is private land. Amara's voice is steady, even as her heart hammers. Up close, he's even more imposing, not just his height or his expensive cologne, but the sheer presence of him. Like he's used to entire rooms rearranging themselves around his arrival. I'm aware, he says, his smile polite, professional, devastating. Chike Okonkwo, I'm looking for the natural spring that's supposed to be in this area. The maps show the spring is that way. She points toward the cluster of trees at the far edge of her family's land. But you can't access it from here. You'll have to go around through the village road. That's a 3-kilometer detour. Then I suppose you have a long walk ahead of you, Mr. Okonkwo. His eyes narrow, reassessing. His assistant hurries forward, already reaching for his wallet. Perhaps we could arrange. We're not selling. Amara cuts him off. Not the land, not access, not anything. Chike waves his assistant back. He studies her with unsettling focus. You know who I am. Everyone knows who you are. You're the man trying to turn our home into hotels and tech parks. I'm the man bringing jobs, infrastructure, investment. You're the man buying up land that's fed families for generations so you can build luxury resorts for people who will never remember our names. Silence. Even his assistant looks shocked. No one apparently speaks to Chike Okonkwo this way. Then impossibly he laughs. It's a real laugh, surprised and genuine. What's your name? Why do you need to know? Because I'd like to continue this conversation. Perhaps over dinner. Amara actually laughs at that. Dinner. Mr. Okonkwo, I have 17 tomato plants that need watering, a fence that needs mending, and a brother who needs help with his schoolwork. I don't have time for dinner with billionaires who think everything can be bought. I don't think everything can be bought. His voice drops lower, more intimate. Just most things. You're proving to be an interesting exception. I'm not an exception. I'm just not for sale. She turns back to her plants. The spring is that way. Enjoy your 3-kilometer walk. She doesn't watch him leave, but she feels his gaze on her back the entire time. He comes back the next day. Alone this time, driving a Land Rover that's still too expensive but at least more practical than the convoy. I hired a guide in the village, he calls out as he approaches. Paid him fairly for 2 hours of his time. He showed me the proper route to the spring. Amara doesn't look up from the seedlings she's transplanting. Congratulations. You've learned basic respect for property boundaries. Also learned something interesting. He crouches down, actually crouches in his expensive trousers so they're at eye level. That spring is the main water source for 12 families in this village, including yours, And my geological team says the aquifer feeding it is the same one we need for the resort development. Her hand still. So you're going to drain it. I'm going to need to find a solution that works for everyone. He pulls out his phone, shows her detailed diagrams she only half understands. We can drill deeper, create a separate access point, install a modern pumping system that actually increases water access for the village while meeting the resort's needs. What does this cost us? Right of way across your family's land, 20 meters wide, compensation at triple the market rate, plus employment guarantees for anyone from Makeni who wants to work at the resort. Fair wages, training programs, the works. It sounds too good. There has to be a catch. Why, she asks. Why not just buy us out, force us to sell? Men like you usually get what you want. Men like me. He repeats it, something unreadable in his expression. You think you know men like me. I know you didn't build a billion-dollar empire by being nice. He agrees quietly. I didn't. I built it by being smart. And right now, the smart move is building something sustainable. Something the community supports, because projects built on resentment fail, and I don't do failure. He stands, brushing red dust from his knees. Think about it. I'm staying at the guest house in town for the next 3 days. You know where to find me. He's almost back to his vehicle when she calls out, Amara. He turns. My name, it's Amara Kamara. His smile could power the entire village. I know. I asked around yesterday. Apparently, you're something of a local legend. The girl who turned down a scholarship to the capital to stay and help her family. The one who taught herself advanced agriculture from library books. The one everyone comes to when they need someone who tells the truth, even when it's hard. Heat rises in her cheeks. You investigated me. I'm a businessman, Amara. I investigate everything. He opens his car door, pauses. But I came back because you're the first person in months who's treated me like a regular human being instead of a walking bank account or a threat. That's rare and valuable. He drives away, leaving her standing in her field, heart racing in a way that has nothing to do with fear. She doesn't go to him. For 2 days, she works her field, argues with her mother about the offer. Her mother wants to take it immediately, and absolutely does not think about the way he looked at her. On the 3rd day, he shows up at sunset, not in the Land Rover, on foot, walking the long way around through the village road like she told him to. Stubborn, he says, slightly out of breath. Persistent. I'm leaving tomorrow, back to Lagos. There's a board meeting I can't miss. He's not in a suit today, just dark jeans and a linen shirt, and somehow that's worse, more real. I wanted to say goodbye and to tell you the offer stands regardless. Take a month to think about it, talk to your family. Get a lawyer to review everything if you want, I'll pay for it. Are you being so reasonable about this? Because you make me want to be. The honesty in his voice stops her. Because I've spent 10 years building things, acquiring things, winning things. And somewhere in there I forgot what it feels like to actually earn something. To have someone look at me and see just a man, not what I can buy or what I can offer. You're still a billionaire. I'm still a village girl with dirt under her fingernails. I was a village boy once, from a place not unlike this. My mother sold fabric in the market. My father drove trucks until a bad accident left him disabled. He moves closer and she doesn't step back. Everyone thinks I came from nothing and made something. Truth is messier. I had luck, timing. I met the right person who believed in my idea when I was 22 and desperate. None of the stories talk about that part. Are you telling me this? Because you asked me who I really am. In your own way, by refusing to be impressed by the surface. His hand lifts, hesitates, then gently, so gently, brushes a smudge of dirt from her cheek. And because I leave tomorrow and I'm realizing I don't want to, air between them feels electric. Amara. Her name sounds different in his mouth, precious. Have dinner with me, not as a business deal, just as two people who apparently can't stop thinking about each other. I haven't, she stops. Lying seems pointless. There's no restaurant here. Then we'll improvise. They eat at the edge of the village where the land opens up to the sunset. He brought food from the guest house, nothing fancy, just rice and stew and plantains. They sit on a blanket he must have borrowed, and for once he doesn't look like a billionaire. Just a man, laughing at her stories about her youngest brother's attempts to raise chickens. He named them all after footballers, she says, grinning, and then cried for 2 days when we had to eat Cristiano. His laugh is wonderful, full and unguarded. That's devastating. That's life here, beautiful and hard and real. She looks out at the darkening sky. You'll forget this place once you're back in Lagos, back to your board meetings and your empire. I won't. He shifts closer, his shoulder brushing hers. Amara, I have 17 more projects across Africa. I'm opening new offices in Nairobi and Accra next year. I spend my life moving between cities, building things, never staying anywhere long enough to connect. Sounds lonely. It is. His fingers find hers in the growing darkness. Until today, she should pull away. This is impossible. He lives in a different world, private jets and penthouses and problems she can't even imagine. She lives here, rooted to this red earth, responsible for people who depend on her. But his hand is warm and his eyes are soft, and when he leans in, she doesn't stop him. The kiss is gentle at first, testing, then deeper as if they're both trying to memorize something they know can't last. His hand curves around her jaw and she grabs his shirt to pull him closer, and for one perfect moment none of the impossibility matters. When they break apart, breathless, he rests his forehead against hers. Come with me, he whispers, to Lagos, not as my employee or my charity case, as someone I want to know, really know. I have an apartment, you'd have your own space. No pressure, just a chance for both of us. Can't leave my family. Hire someone to help on the farm. I'll pay for your brother's school directly, your mother's medicine, whatever it takes. His urgency surprises her. Amara, I have spent 10 years not feeling anything real. And then you stood in that field and looked at me like I was just another person taking up space, and I felt alive for the first time in I don't know how long. This is crazy. Completely. He kisses her again, softer. Say yes anyway, she tells him she needs to think. He gives her the night, but his eyes say he knows he's already lost this argument or won it. It's hard to tell which. In the morning, she finds her mother sitting on the porch watching the sunrise. You're going to go, her mother says. It's not a question. I don't know. Amara. Her mother's voice is gentle. I was 17 when I turned down a chance to study nursing in the capital because my mother was sick. Because my sisters needed me, because someone always needed me. She takes Amara's hand. I've never regretted my family, but I've always wondered who I might have been. If it doesn't work, what if I get there and realize it's all a fantasy? Then you come home, the land will still be here, we will still be here. Her mother's eyes shine. But what if it does work? What if there's a whole life waiting for you out there? One where you don't have to choose between love and duty. Where you can be more than just the girl who stayed. Amara finds him loading his bags into the Land Rover, trying to look businesslike and failing. 3 conditions, she says. He spins around so fast he nearly drops his laptop bag. Name them. You sign the village deal first, in writing, with the protections you promised, before I get in that car. Done. 2, I'm not coming as your girlfriend or your project. I'm coming to figure out what I want, on my own terms. If that means we're together, fine. If it means I decide this isn't for me, you respect that. Agreed. His eyes are bright with hope. 3, you teach me everything. About your world, your business, how things work outside this village. I'm not going to be some decoration or some story you tell about the girl you rescued. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it with my eyes open. He crosses the distance between them in 3 strides, cups her face in his hands. Amara Kamara, you are the least rescuable person I've ever met. And that's exactly why I can't stop thinking about you. That a yes. That's a I'll have my lawyers draw up the village contract in the next 2 hours, and then we're going to Lagos, where I'm going to introduce you to everyone as the woman who made me remember who I actually am underneath all the expensive suits. She kisses him then. They're in the morning light, with her whole village probably watching and her heart hammering with terror and excitement in equal measure. This is insane, she murmurs against his lips. Completely, he agrees. But I've built an empire on calculated risks. And you, Amara, you're the best bet I've ever made. 2 years later, the resort opens with the village's blessing. Amara stands beside Chike, her partner in every sense now, as they cut the ribbon. Half the staff are from Makeni. The spring runs clear and abundant, the new pumping system working exactly as promised. She splits her time now. 3 weeks in Lagos, where she's finishing a degree in sustainable development and consulting for Chike's foundation. 1 week here, hands in the soil, teaching new farming techniques to families who now have reliable water. Regrets? Chike asks, wrapping his arms around her from behind as they watch the sunset from the resort's balcony. She leans back into him, this impossible man who saw her truly from the very first moment. Only that I wasted 2 whole days being stubborn before I kissed you. I fell in love with you during those 2 days of stubbornness. You fell in love with me the second I told you no. Maybe, probably, definitely. Below them, the village lights begin to glow. Her mother's house, her brother now in university, the land that will always be her first home even as she builds new ones. You know what the best part is, she says softly. Tell me. You didn't save me, and I didn't change you. We just found each other and decided to build something new together. Like I said, his arms tighten around her. Best bet I ever made. Stars come out over Make Me witnessing their story. The billionaire and the village girl. The man who had everything and the woman who taught him what actually mattered. Not a fairy tale, just a choice made bravely. A leap taken together. And a love built on red earth and honest words and the courage to believe that sometimes, impossibly, the right person walks into your field and changes everything.